I can already feel a lot of energy in this room, with very active small children clapping away, and also wide awake, you know, on a hot sunny day. So that's good, it's positive. I would like to start off by thanking the school, the Vanua, and the school management committee for such a warm welcome. The head of school, the Rokotui Namata, members of the school management committee, senior officials from the Ministry of Education, teachers, parents, students. My visit today is threefold. In other words, I'm going to do three things today. First one is handing over of school resources and PPE items given to us by UNICEF and also by the Korean Embassy. And I take this opportunity to thank the people of Korea, particularly the Ambassador of Korea, who has been very kind and generous in supporting the education sector. And the Korean government has been providing resources to our schools in the tune of almost $500,000. The second reason why I'm in this school is to meet the head of school, the teachers, and have one-to-one discussion with the teachers and the head of school. And the third reason is, of course, to meet the school management committee, who are the owners of this school, and have a discussion with them in terms of understanding some of the constraints and actually how things are going in regards to the running of the school. So these are the three reasons why I'm here. But for the students who are seated here, I can say to you that in 3 weeks' time, the school will end. In other words, you will be having 1 week holiday, and that would be at the end of March, which is this month. We will close the year 2021, and then on 8th of April, the school reopens for the year 2022. If we consider the traditional way, how the schools reopen, particularly for new school year, remember there used to be back to school sale? So it's a bit strange. We will be having back to school sale probably in the month of April, first week of April, because that is the start of new academic year. I'm also delighted to say that Year 12 and 13 external exam results will be out on 17th of March, and I'm very grateful to my team at the headquarters as well as the markers who have been working around the clock making sure that the results are out by 17th of March. Coming back to the handing over of special grant assistance items, the Korean Embassy has provided this school with a number of items such as overhead projector, literacy and numeracy kits, small smart interactive TV, and UNICEF has provided the awareness materials as well as PPE. We are living in a very challenging time with pandemic, and during this pandemic we all have to take precaution and we need to protect ourselves. And I see that we have a room full of children who are all masked up. But let me also inform the head of school as well as the teachers that there is some restriction being lifted on masking. For Year 1 and Year 2 students, they no longer have to wear mask. So this restriction was lifted by the Permanent Secretary for Health. And any child who have special disability or they have special needs and they need to take their mask off, even that is allowed. So I thought it was important for me to share this with you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank the teachers, the ancillary staff, the school management committee for getting vaccinated. It is extremely important that we all get vaccinated if we have not, because that is the only way we can protect ourselves. You may have seen that the number of COVID cases in the country is coming down. We don't have that many active cases in our community. So it's a clear indication that Ministry of Health is able to control the spread, but they were only able to control that spread because of you. You managed to get vaccinated. You have been following all the COVID safe protocol, even in the school and also in your personal life. So I thank you for doing that. I also take this opportunity to thank the teachers for the good work that they did when the school was under closure for almost 9 months. While the calls were made by the public that the teachers should not be paid just because they were at home, but the government and the Ministry of Education realizes that even when the teachers were at home, they were still teaching the students, they were still preparing the worksheet, they were still conducting classes through Zoom, they were conducting classes through Moodle, and they were doing everything possible to ensure that our children continue to learn. And you helped us to arrest the learning loss through whichever means you felt at that point was the best way to keep our children connected to their education. So I'm extremely grateful and thank you for doing that. I also like to inform you that just a week ago we have launched Teacher Helpline, and Teacher Helpline is purely for our teachers. If you have any grievances, you want some clarification from the headquarters, you just have to go online and lodge your complaint. We have a dedicated team that will address your concerns and complaints. And ever since we have launched the Teacher Helpline, which is barely a week or so, we have been receiving quite a number of complaints from our teacher. And this morning I had a discussion with one of our staff who handles Teacher Helpline, and he told me that they have received more than 35 complaints in a very short period, which means teachers are using Teacher Helpline. And why did we set up Teacher Helpline? We did set up Teacher Helpline because we did not want you to go in circles when you have an issue and you want a response from the ministry. Please do understand that we have 13,000 teachers, and sometimes it's really impossible to address all their concerns. And particularly so when the teachers were calling the HR section and they were put on hold, and next time when they did a follow-up, it wasn't the same person, it was someone else responding to you. And there was no record of your complaints. But we have replaced all that, because your complaints are recorded, it is responded to, and the matter is closed. And that brings about efficiency in dealing with our client, and that is our teachers. I take this opportunity to pay my deepest respect to the community as well as to the school management committee for building this school, for continuing providing education to our children, which we greatly appreciate. It is your foresight, your planning that resulted in this particular building of this particular school. And it is good that the children from this community, they attend school closer to their home rather than traveling long distances. I also want to bring to the attention of parents and teachers and students who are seated here. Recently you may have read or seen on social media, there are very young children who had a brawl at Suba bus station. Now, that is definitely concerning, not only for the schools or Ministry of Education, but also to our parents and our community as a whole. It shows that there is a breakdown somewhere, that our children could do that in public. They can fight in public. It is very concerning. But because the matter was not in the school, obviously it was outside the school, and the best we can do is leave it to the enforcement agencies to deal with it. And we all encourage parents to take responsibility, talk to the children, and try and inculcate values in our children so that they behave well. And similarly, I also encourage teachers to keep talking to the students so that they behave exactly the way in a school situation. Similarly, they behave in the same manner when they're out of school. We cannot afford to have our children fighting in public space. It's not looking good. It is sending wrong message, and we need to ensure that our children behave in public places. I would like to share with all of you, there's some changes that we are bringing about in the ECE and primary school system. We are going to offer just a couple of subjects from ECE right up to year 3. And our focus will be on numeracy, literacy, civic and moral education, gardening, physical education, language, and also art and craft. But major focus is on numeracy and literacy, civic and moral education. All other subjects that were offered right up to year 3 will be taken away. It's no point. We will not make our children sit for exams from year 1 to year 3, and there are reasons for it. Teachers can have subject assessment, but you are not giving positions. You are not placing children, based on their performance, who came first, who came second, and who came last. We're taking that off. And our reason is that at such a tender age, when they are in school to learn, we cannot demotivate them. We cannot send this wrong signal by saying to our children that you are the bright ones and you are not the bright ones. That stigma children carry for a long time, and it can have a major impact on their learning abilities. So it is for this reason we will be removing exams for year 1 to year 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to remind everyone seated here that government has made a huge investment in education, the biggest ever in the history of Fiji. Every year, the government provides almost $700 million towards the education sector. $700 million towards the education sector, because we believe in our children. We want our children to become good citizens. We want them to improve their quality of life, and we want them to be good neighbors when they come out of school system. That is the return that we are looking at when we invest heavily in the education sector. We have also gone ahead with, as you know, from 2014, we are providing free education grant to schools, free textbooks to our children, transport is being paid, tuition is being paid. The only thing we ask of our children is to focus on their studies and become who they want to become. We have eased the burden from our parents. Because before that, if you ask any school management committee, they'll tell you how difficult it was to run a school. Teachers, parents, and the school management committee were forever engaged in fundraising activities. But we don't do that anymore. We provide free education grant. And the only reason why we do that, because we understand that the school environment needs to be conducive, the ambience needs to be right, so that our children are interested in that good ambience to study. And if we don't provide a proper infrastructure, it affects the learning. It affects the learning process. And we are encouraging school management committee as well as the head of school to keep pressing ahead to improve the infrastructure and to improve the learning environment. Now, infrastructure alone is not going to solve our problem. What we also need is the resources that are required to teach. And today, that's why I'm here. We will be providing you with a projector, a smart interactive TV, as well as numeracy and literacy learning kits. So there'll be a lot more resources for the teachers to use when they are imparting knowledge to our children. For teachers, I did mention earlier on, and I do mention now, it's extremely important that we change the way we teach, because the world is evolving and we need to evolve with changing time. We cannot stick to chalk and talk and feel that, yes, I've done my job. It is beyond that, because our children are very smart. Even the young ones who are sitting right in front of us, some of them must be aware of various information technology that is available. And they are smart in playing with the mobile phones. And some of them must be owning a mobile phone. How many of you have a mobile phone? You have a phone? I know you don't bring it to school, but at home, do you use your parents' phone? You use your parents' phone. So when you behave, then the phone is given to you to play. Am I right? But you see what I'm saying. The children are very smart, and they are tech savvy. They know how to use the phone, and I'm sure they're not using the smartphone just to make a phone call to their friends. They are on the internet and they're exploring the various sites. So with that, as teachers, we need to change the methodology we use in classroom setting when we want to impart knowledge. Now, one cannot say that, hey, we don't have internet and therefore we cannot do digital learning. In fact, you can, so long as you have electricity and you have a smart TV. If you have electricity and smart TV, you can download the kind of information you want to share with the children on a flash drive, and you can stick that flash drive on the smart TV, and you can teach children from the smart TV. Right, so that's possible as well. And I would encourage the head of school and the school management committee to closely look at that area, that space. At ministry, we have hired a manager who is responsible for digital learning, and he will be writing to each and every school, finding out how many computers you have, whether you have internet connection or not, whether the internet connection is good or bad, etc., etc. But for teachers who are looking for information, you just have to go to Ministry of Education's website. There is a learning hub. You go to Learning Hub, you'll be able to download a lot of information that you can use in a classroom setting. So I will stop here, and I also want to acknowledge all the women, our women teachers around the country for the work they do. And why I want to acknowledge them, because today is International Women's Day. And we had conducted a survey, and the survey showed that while we have 39% teachers who are female, but they are not in the leadership role. whereas we have only 31% male as teachers, but majority, almost over 70% of them are holding leadership role. And the question is why our women teachers are not applying for the leadership role. And we found out from the survey that when we asked the teachers, do you want to lead a school? Do you want to become principals, head teachers? They said yes. When we asked them the next question, did you apply? The answer was no. Then we asked the third question, why you did not apply? Oh, we don't have the right qualification. We don't have the experience. We have a family to look after. But then later on, when we looked at the qualification, we found that there are more women teachers who are fully qualified as compared to men. But yet they did not apply for head of school position. So today I want to encourage our women teachers that you should apply for head of school positions. And please do that. With these words, finally, I just want to wish all of you Happy Women's Day. Vinaka.